Courage to speak English comes before fluency. Many people want to speak English fluently, but very few actually speak English. This is not a language problem. It is a courage problem. People do not fail because English is difficult. They fail because they wait for perfection before action. The truth is simple. Fluency is not the starting point. Fluency is the result. No one in the world started speaking English fluently. Every fluent speaker began with broken sentences, wrong pronunciation, pauses, and confusion. The difference between those who speak English today and those who remain silent is not intelligence. It is courage. Courage to speak before being ready. Most learners believe they must first learn correct pronunciation, perfect grammar, and smooth sentences. Only then, they think, they should start speaking. This belief is false and harmful. It delays progress and strengthens fear. Language is not learned in silence. Language is learned through use. A child does not wait to speak until pronunciation is correct. A child speaks first and corrects later. Adults forget this natural process because fear and ego replace curiosity. Fear of sounding wrong. Fear of being laughed at. Fear of judgment. These fears are emotional, not logical. But if obeyed, they completely stop learning. Courage in English speaking does not mean speaking confidently. It means speaking despite lack of confidence. You must understand one foundational truth. You will get stuck when you speak English. This is not a problem. This is part of the process. Getting stuck means your brain is working. It means you are reaching beyond comfort. If you never get stuck, you are not growing. Most learners quit at this stage. They stop mid-sentence. They switch to silence. They return to their local language fully. This moment decides everything. Courage means not leaving the sentence. Even if the sentence breaks. Even if words are missing. Even if pronunciation is wrong. Fluency is built by continuity, not correctness. Another major misunderstanding is pronunciation. Many learners believe wrong pronunciation will permanently damage their English. This fear is incorrect. Pronunciation improves only through repetition and correction. Avoidance makes pronunciation worse, not better. You cannot correct what you do not use. Every sound you repeat trains your mouth. Every correction improves accuracy. Silence trains nothing. No one starts as a master. This is not opinion. This is fact. Every master was once slow. Every fluent speaker was once broken. Every confident voice once hesitated. The only difference is practice. Practice does not mean studying more grammar. Practice means speaking regularly, even badly. Especially badly. Another important truth must be accepted. You do not need to start fluent. You can start with your local language supporting English. Mixing languages at the beginning is not failure. It is a bridge. The brain learns expression first, purity later. When you force fluency too early, fear increases. When you allow mixed expression, flow increases. Over time, English naturally replaces local language through repetition. This is how real fluency develops. Courage in English speaking is not dramatic. It is daily. It is quiet. It is repetitive. One sentence today. One correction tomorrow. One repeated word again and again. This daily courage compounds. Many learners wait for the right time to start speaking. There is no right time. There is only the present moment. Starting imperfectly today is better than waiting perfectly forever. You must accept one uncomfortable truth. You will sound wrong before you sound right. This is not weakness. This is the cost of skill. If you avoid this cost, you avoid fluency. This work is written to correct false beliefs and replace them with action-based learning. It is not written to comfort fear. It is written to guide progress. You do not need permission to speak English. You do not need approval. You need courage. Courage to speak. Courage to repeat. Courage to correct. Courage to continue. Point 1. Speak before you become fluent. Why action must come before correctness. The biggest mistake English learners make is waiting for fluency before speaking. This single belief destroys more progress than lack of vocabulary, grammar, or pronunciation. Speaking is treated as a reward instead of a tool. This thinking must be corrected. Fluency is not a requirement for speaking. Speaking is the requirement for fluency. Language is a motor skill. Just like writing, driving, or swimming, it improves only through use. Reading about swimming does not make you swim. Watching others speak English does not make you fluent. Only speaking builds speaking ability. When learners delay speaking, they create a false preparation stage. They keep studying grammar rules, watching videos, and memorizing words. This feels productive, but it avoids the real task. English remains theoretical instead of functional. The brain does not learn language through rules first. It learns through usage first. When you speak, even incorrectly, the brain starts building pathways. It connects ideas to sounds. It trains recall speed. It adjusts mouth movement. None of this happens in silence. Many learners say, "I will speak after I improve." This is backwards. Improvement happens because you speak. Fear creates this delay. Fear of mistakes. Fear of embarrassment. Fear of being judged. These fears are emotional, not educational. But they control behavior if not challenged. Courage is speaking while fear exists. You must accept that early speaking will be slow and broken. This is not a sign of failure. This is the correct stage of learning. If your English sounds weak in the beginning, it means you are doing it right. Every fluent speaker passed through this stage. The difference is that they did not stop. Another important truth: correctness does not come first. Flow comes first. When children learn a language, they speak incorrectly for years. Adults correct them slowly. Fluency develops long before accuracy. Adults try to reverse this order, and that creates blockage. If you try to be correct while speaking, you will hesitate. Hesitation breaks flow. Broken flow increases fear. Fear reduces speaking. This cycle stops progress. Instead, you must prioritize expression over accuracy. Say what you can. Use the words you know. Finish the sentence. Correction comes later. Many learners worry that speaking wrong English will fix bad habits. This fear is incorrect. Habits are corrected through feedback and repetition, not silence. A wrong habit can be corrected. A silent habit cannot. If you never speak, you never discover your weaknesses. If you never discover weaknesses, you cannot improve. Speaking exposes gaps. Gaps guide learning. This is why speaking first is efficient, not careless. You do not need full sentences at the beginning. You can start with fragments. You can start with simple structures. Complexity grows naturally with use. For example, instead of trying to speak perfect English, say, I go market. I not understand. I try again. This is acceptable at the beginning. Communication matters more than elegance. Fluency is the ability to continue speaking, not the ability to speak perfectly. Another major problem is ego. Adults want to sound intelligent immediately. This expectation blocks learning. Skill development requires temporary incompetence. If you avoid looking weak, you avoid becoming strong. Courage in English speaking means accepting beginner status. You are not judged by starting level. You are judged by consistency. Speaking before fluency also trains the nervous system. The first few times you speak, anxiety rises. Heart rate increases. Thoughts scatter. This is normal. When you continue anyway, the nervous system adapts. Anxiety reduces naturally. Avoidance increases anxiety. Exposure reduces it. This is not motivation. This is biology. If you speak daily, fear reduces even if English is imperfect. If you avoid speaking, fear grows even if your knowledge improves. This proves one thing clearly: fear is not caused by lack of English. Fear is caused by lack of exposure. Therefore, the solution is not more preparation. The solution is more speaking. You must create daily speaking situations. Speak to yourself. Speak while walking. Speak while working. Speak even when no one is listening. The goal is not performance. The goal is usage. Use English to think, not to impress. When English becomes a thinking tool, fluency accelerates. This point must be remembered clearly. You do not become fluent and then start speaking. You start speaking and then become fluent. Any method that tells you otherwise is delaying your progress. Point 2. You will get stuck, but you must not stop. Getting stuck while speaking English is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that your brain is stretching beyond comfort. Every learner, without exception, experiences this stage. The problem is not getting stuck. The problem is what you do when you get stuck. Most learners stop speaking the moment a word is missing. They pause, feel embarrassed, and either become silent or completely switch to their local language. This moment decides progress. Stopping trains fear. Continuing trains fluency. Fluency is the ability to maintain flow despite gaps. It is not the absence of gaps. When you stop speaking because you are stuck, you teach your brain that difficulty means danger. The brain then increases fear the next time you try to speak. Over time, this creates a strong mental block. Courage is continuing the sentence even when it is broken. You must understand this clearly. Being stuck is part of language formation. The brain is searching. If you stop, the search ends. If you continue, the brain adapts. At the beginning, you will often know what you want to say but not how to say it in English. This is normal. The idea exists before the language. Courage is expressing the idea imperfectly instead of waiting for perfect words. You can slow down. You can repeat. You can restructure the sentence. But you must not stop completely. Another important rule: Silence is the enemy of fluency. Silence feels safe, but it teaches avoidance. Every time you choose silence, you strengthen hesitation. Over time, hesitation becomes automatic. Fluent speakers are not those who know all words. They are those who know how to move forward without knowing all words. You must train this skill deliberately. When you are stuck, use simpler words. Break the sentence. Use basic structure. Complexity can wait. For example, instead of stopping, say, I want say, how say, problem in work. This is not wrong at this stage. It keeps flow alive. Flow matters more than grammar in the beginning. Another powerful method is rephrasing. If one sentence is blocked, try another structure. This teaches flexibility. Fluency is flexibility under pressure. Many learners believe mistakes will damage their English. This belief is false. Mistakes are temporary. Silence is permanent. Every mistake gives information. Every correction improves clarity. Without mistakes, learning stops. You must also remove emotional reaction to being stuck. Do not label it as failure. Label it as practice. If you get stuck 10 times in one conversation, that is not bad. That is 10 learning moments. Courage is not avoiding discomfort. Courage is staying in discomfort without quitting. Another reason learners stop is fear of judgment. They assume others are noticing mistakes. In reality, most people focus on meaning, not grammar. And even if judgment exists, it does not stop your growth. Avoiding speaking to avoid judgment costs more than judgment ever could. Progress always costs embarrassment at the beginning. You must accept this cost consciously. One practical rule: never leave a sentence unfinished. Even if the sentence becomes simple, finish it. Completion trains confidence. Unfinished speech trains doubt. Also, do not apologize for mistakes while speaking. Apologizing breaks flow and reinforces fear. Speak, finish, then correct later. Correction belongs after speaking, not during. You can note mistakes mentally. You can correct them in practice sessions. But do not stop mid-speech to fix grammar. That habit destroys fluency. Courage means prioritizing communication over correctness. When you continue speaking despite being stuck, something important happens. The brain learns that it can survive confusion. This reduces anxiety naturally. Over time, getting stuck feels normal, not threatening. Once that happens, fluency accelerates. This is why many learners with limited vocabulary still speak confidently. They have trained continuation, not perfection. This point must be remembered. You do not become fluent by avoiding being stuck. You become fluent by continuing through it. Point 3. Use your local language as support, not as an escape. Why mixing languages is a stage, not a failure. Many English learners believe that using their local language while speaking English is wrong. They think it slows progress or shows weakness. This belief creates unnecessary pressure and increases fear. In reality, controlled use of the local language can support fluency in the early stages. The problem is not using the local language. The problem is depending on it completely. Language learning is a transition process. You do not jump from silence to fluency. You move gradually. Local language acts as a bridge, not a barrier. When learners try to speak only English from day one, they often stop speaking entirely. The pressure to be perfect blocks expression. Courage requires reducing pressure, not increasing it. You must understand one rule clearly. Expression comes before. Expression comes before purity. The brain first learns to express ideas. Later, it refines the language used to express them. Using your local language for missing words keeps communication alive. It prevents silence. Silence damages fluency more than mixed language. For example, I want to explain my samasya in office. This is not failure. This is continuation. The idea is expressed. Flow remains. Over time, English replaces local words naturally. Fluency improves through replacement, not force. Many fluent bilingual speakers started this way. They did not stop themselves from speaking. They allowed transition. Another important point: guilt destroys practice. If you feel guilty every time you use a local word, anxiety increases. Anxiety blocks recall. Blocking recall increases silence. This creates a negative loop. Instead, use local language consciously. Mark the word mentally. Later, learn the English equivalent. Next time, try to use it. This method is practical and effective. Your goal is not to eliminate local language immediately. Your goal is to reduce dependence gradually. Every week, try to replace a few commonly used local words with English. This steady replacement builds confidence without pressure. Courage is allowing imperfection during growth. Another misunderstanding is that mixing languages creates bad habits. This is false. Habits are created by repetition over long periods. If you are actively learning replacements, mixed language naturally disappears. Children learning a second language often mix languages at first. Over time, separation happens automatically. The brain prefers efficiency. When English becomes easier than local language for certain expressions, it will switch naturally. But if you force separation too early, you increase stress. Stress reduces learning. Using local language strategically also keeps conversations alive. Communication is about connection, not performance. When you can express yourself, confidence grows. Confidence grows from successful expression, not from grammatical accuracy. Another key point: do not switch completely to local language once stuck. That is escape. Use one or two local words, then return to English. Controlled mixing is support. Full switching is avoidance. You must be honest with yourself here. Ask: am I using local language to continue, or to escape? If it helps you continue speaking, it is useful. If it ends English speaking, it is harmful. Courage requires awareness. Over time, your brain will automatically search for English words first. Local language will appear less often. This shift happens naturally with exposure. This is why daily speaking matters. The more you speak, the faster the transition. One more important truth: fluency does not mean native-like purity. Fluency means effective communication. Many fluent speakers around the world mix accents, styles, and influences. They are still fluent. Do not chase perfection. Chase clarity. This point must be fixed in your mind. Using your local language in the beginning is not a mistake. Silence is the real mistake. Point 4. Pronunciation improves through repetition, not avoidance. Why sounding wrong is necessary to sound right. Pronunciation is one of the biggest fears in English speaking. Many learners remain silent because they believe their pronunciation is bad. They assume that speaking with wrong pronunciation will permanently damage their English. This belief is incorrect and harmful. Pronunciation does not improve in silence. Pronunciation improves through use. No one starts with correct pronunciation. This is a fact, not an opinion. Every fluent speaker once pronounced words incorrectly. Improvement came through repetition, listening, and correction over time. If you avoid speaking because of pronunciation fear, you delay improvement. Avoidance freezes progress. Pronunciation is a physical skill. It involves the tongue, lips, jaw, breath, and rhythm. Physical skills improve only through movement, not observation. You cannot train your mouth without using it. Many learners think listening alone will fix pronunciation. Listening helps awareness, but without speaking, correction does not happen. The brain must coordinate sound production actively. Speak first. Adjust later. Another common mistake is trying to pronounce every word perfectly while speaking. This creates hesitation and breaks fluency. Fluency must come before accuracy. When you stop to correct pronunciation mid-sentence, you interrupt flow. Interrupted flow increases fear and self-consciousness. This leads to more mistakes. Courage means allowing imperfect pronunciation while continuing to speak. Pronunciation correction should happen after speaking, not during. You can record yourself. You can listen to correct pronunciation. You can repeat words slowly in practice sessions. But during real speaking, keep moving. Many learners worry that repeating wrong pronunciation will create bad habits. This fear is exaggerated. Habits are shaped by long-term repetition without correction. If you are aware and correcting gradually, improvement happens naturally. A wrong pronunciation spoken 10 times and corrected later is better than a correct pronunciation never spoken. Another important point: accent is not a problem. Clarity is the goal, not accent elimination. Many fluent English speakers speak with accents. They are still effective communicators. Do not confuse accent with error. Your pronunciation does not need to be perfect. It needs to be understandable. Courage is focusing on communication, not judgment. You must also accept that pronunciation improves slowly. It does not change overnight. Expect gradual improvement, not immediate results. Trying to sound perfect early creates frustration. Consistency beats intensity. One effective method is repetition with awareness. Choose common words. Listen to correct pronunciation. Repeat them daily. Then use them in sentences while speaking. This connects practice with real usage. Another method is shadowing. Listen to short English clips and repeat immediately. Do not worry about matching exactly. Focus on rhythm and flow. But remember, these exercises support speaking. They do not replace speaking. Pronunciation improves fastest when words are used in real context. You must also remove shame from your voice. Shame tightens muscles. Tension damages pronunciation. Relaxed repetition improves clarity. Courage allows your voice to exist as it is today. Tomorrow it will be better if you speak today. Every time you speak, your mouth learns. Every time you repeat, accuracy improves. This point must be clear in your mind. You do not wait for good pronunciation to speak. You speak to build good pronunciation. Avoidance delays improvement. Repetition creates mastery. Point 5. No one starts as a master. Mastery comes only through regular practice. Why beginners become fluent and quitters do not. Many English learners secretly believe that fluent speakers are naturally gifted. They think some people are born with better language ability, better pronunciation, or faster learning speed. This belief is incorrect. It creates inferiority and excuses. Mastery is not a gift. It is the result of regular practice over time. Every master was once a beginner. There is no exception to this rule. Fluent English speakers were once slow, confused, and incorrect. They struggled to form sentences. They searched for words. They made pronunciation mistakes. What separated them from others was not talent, but persistence. Most learners quit too early. They practice for a few days or weeks, feel uncomfortable, and then stop. They expect quick improvement. When results are slow, they assume English is not for them. This assumption is false. Language learning is gradual. Progress is invisible at first. You must understand how mastery actually develops. Improvement does not happen in a straight line. It happens in small, unnoticeable steps. Daily effort feels the same, but ability slowly increases underneath. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. Practicing 1 hour once a week is weaker than practicing 10 minutes daily. The brain adapts through frequent exposure. Long gaps reset progress. Regular practice trains recall speed. Words come faster. Sentences form more smoothly. Confidence grows naturally. Irregular practice keeps you at beginner level. Many learners say, "I practiced a lot, but I did not improve." When examined closely, their practice was inconsistent. They stopped when busy. They skipped days. They restarted again and again. This breaks momentum. Mastery requires rhythm. Another important truth: struggle is not a sign of inability. Struggle is a sign of learning. If something feels difficult, it means your brain is adapting. If English feels easy, you are not challenging yourself enough. Masters did not avoid struggle. They accepted it as part of the process. They repeated words even when tired. They spoke even when unsure. They practiced even when progress felt slow. This repetition builds automaticity. Automaticity is the real definition of fluency. You no longer think about grammar. You simply speak. Automaticity cannot be forced. It can only be built through time and repetition. This is why shortcuts fail. Apps, courses, and tricks can support learning, but they cannot replace regular speaking. There is no method that bypasses practice. Another mistake learners make is changing methods too often. They start one approach, feel uncomfortable, then switch to another. This creates confusion and resets progress. Mastery requires staying with a method long enough to see results. Choose simple practice. Repeat it daily. Improve slowly. This is how skill is built. You must also stop expecting perfection. Masters are not perfect. They are functional. They still make mistakes. The difference is that mistakes do not stop them. Beginners stop because of mistakes. Masters continue despite mistakes. This difference is courage. Courage is not confidence. Courage is continuation. Another important factor is patience. Language learning operates on months and years, not days. Expecting fast fluency creates disappointment. Patience is not passive. It is disciplined repetition without complaint. If you practice daily, improvement is guaranteed. This is not motivation. This is certainty. The human brain adapts to repeated use. This is how all skills are learned. Those who speak English fluently today did not wait to feel skilled. They spoke until they became skilled. This point must be fixed in your thinking. You are not bad at English. You are just early in the process. If you continue, improvement is unavoidable. If you quit, mastery is impossible. Point 6. Daily courage and consistency. How fluency finally emerges. Why speaking every day matters more than speaking well. Fluency does not arrive suddenly. It develops quietly through daily courage and consistent action. Most learners expect a moment when speaking becomes easy. This expectation is misleading. Fluency is not a switch that turns on. It is a gradual shift that happens when effort becomes habit. The foundation of fluency is daily speaking. Not weekly. Not occasionally. Daily. Many learners wait for confidence before speaking. Confidence never comes first. Action comes first. Confidence follows as a result of repeated action. Each day you speak, even briefly, you strengthen neural pathways. Words become easier to recall. Sentence structures become familiar. Hesitation reduces naturally. Skipping days breaks this process. Daily courage means choosing to speak even when you feel tired, embarrassed, or unprepared. These feelings are normal at the beginning. They do not indicate failure. They indicate growth. Consistency trains the brain to stop panicking. When speaking becomes routine, fear loses intensity. Another key point is duration. You do not need long speaking sessions. 5 to 10 minutes of focused speaking every day is enough. The goal is continuity, not exhaustion. Short daily practice beats long irregular practice. Speak about simple topics. Describe your day. Explain your thoughts. Talk through tasks you are doing. Complex topics are not required in the beginning. Fluency is built on simple language used repeatedly. Many learners make the mistake of preparing sentences in their head before speaking. This slows fluency and increases anxiety. Real fluency comes from spontaneous speech, not memorized lines. Allow mistakes. Keep speaking. You must also accept that bad days will happen. Some days words will not come easily. Some days pronunciation will feel worse. This is normal. Progress is not linear. Do not judge your ability based on one day. Continue regardless of performance. Another important factor is emotional control. Fear tightens your voice and slows thinking. Courage relaxes expression. The more you speak despite fear, the less power fear holds. Fear reduces through exposure. Avoidance strengthens fear. Exposure weakens fear. This applies to language learning completely. You must also stop comparing yourself to fluent speakers. They are further along the same path. Comparison creates pressure and discouragement. Focus on your own progress. Ask yourself one question daily. Did I speak today? If the answer is yes, you are progressing. Fluency also improves when you stop translating mentally. Translation slows speech. It fades naturally when you use English regularly. The brain learns to think directly in English through use, not effort. Do not force it. Allow it. Another useful practice is speaking aloud, even when alone. Speaking silently in your mind does not train your voice. Sound matters. Your mouth must practice producing English sounds. Record yourself occasionally. Not to judge, but to observe progress. Listening to old recordings will show improvement you may not feel daily. This builds motivation through evidence. You must understand that fluency is not perfection. It is flow. You can speak fluently and still make mistakes. Fluent speakers make errors too. They just do not stop. This is the final principle of courage in English speaking. Speak even when unsure. Continue even when wrong. Practice even when slow. Fluency emerges when speaking becomes normal, not stressful. If you commit to daily speaking, improvement is inevitable. This is not opinion. It is how the brain works. Courage practiced daily becomes habit. Habit becomes fluency. Fluency becomes freedom.